So talking about disabilities, disability is basically, money is withdrawn or money is deducted or taken out of your paycheck every time you get a paycheck, and it goes towards disability and it goes towards the state. So when you have a medical condition or you have to take medical leave, then you can go on disability, assuming that you have a doctor's written note and approval or whatever. And what they do is you sign up with an account with your state's disability website, I guess, and then your doctor will like send in their medical approval or note or information or whatever saying that yes, this is legit and she needs to go on medical leave. And then basically you get a little bit of income when you're taking leave, so you're not totally out of everything. So that is something that I didn't know, and I think that if that's the route that you have to take, then that's the route that you have to take. It was a really tough decision for me to go on medical leave for a number of reasons. One is because when you go on leave, you don't get any income, or at least I thought you got like zero income, or I would have to use all of my vacation, all of my sick time. But that's not totally true, obviously, because there's a thing called disability. And it was also hard just because like the other kind of secondary why it was a tough decision is because I didn't know anyone who has or had morning sickness as bad as I did, to the point that they had to stop working, or they needed to go on leave for morning sickness. I hadn't heard of it, and everyone else just seemed to be fine with their first trimester. Maybe they'll get a little nauseous, maybe they threw up once or twice, but not nearly as bad as I had it. And it's interesting because the first time I had morning sickness with Noi, my reaction was like, what have I done? I just didn't know about morning sickness at all. And it was like, what have I done? I was like, what is going on here? And then this time around, like I said, because it came early, it was just like, it was almost kind of like, what's going on? But I knew to expect it, but it was just like mind blown kind of thing. So I think that was like another hard part. I just felt kind of a little shame for having to take some leave, but I am so glad that I did, because once I did take leave, I was just able to rest. And so our routine changed pretty dramatically, or I felt like it changed pretty dramatically, not just because I just stopped working, but because she had to go to school every day. I still had to take her to school, and I still had to make that long commute because her school was near my office and it was pretty far. So what I would do is, this is how our routine or schedule had changed. I would wake up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I would take her to school and get there by about 7, like right when the doors open. I would drop her off and try to come home as quickly as I can to try to avoid rush hour, because where I live, rush hour is horrendous. And so then I would come home and I would have breakfast, and breakfast was like probably one of my best meals, I guess, because my stomach had been so empty or whatever, and it was probably the best one. So I would have breakfast, and then I would go back to bed, essentially, and then I would wake up for lunch, and then I would go have lunch, and then I would go pick her up. And her school, and then like sometimes I would get there early, just again because of rush hour. Rush hour would start really early, but I would go pick her up right when she got up from nap, which was the earliest I could go pick her up, which was at 3 o'clock. So sometimes I would get there a little bit early, and I would just like sleep in the car and things like that, and then wait until it was 3 o'clock, pick her up, and drive straight home. I would give her a shower straight away, and then I would give myself a shower, and then I would go right back to sleep. And then for the rest of the night, my mom would feed her, and then I would get up and kind of like do our nighttime routine. Well, not nighttime routine, but basically just get her ready for bed, brush her teeth and put on a diaper. And then I would put her to sleep and I would go to sleep. So it was, we would go to sleep basically at 8:30 to 9 o'clock. So I was pretty much either sleeping, eating, or just like commuting to take, or taking care of Nonai, which was like the bare minimum. Our routine did change quite a bit in terms of, like I stopped reading her books at night, which I felt really bad about, and she really missed. But I just needed to sleep. And I would sometimes be able to have dinner, but not always. And yeah, so that was, it was really hard. It was really kind of like, it was really hard, not just because I was sick, but because, all the changes that Nonai had to kind of like almost endure. Because like on the weekends, I didn't do anything. I didn't go out. We usually go out like all day long on the weekends. I would take her to the bookstore. We would like go walk around the mall, or we'd go play with our friends. Like for like do like a play date or whatever. But we didn't do anything for several months. And I anticipated that I would only be out for maybe like 1 or 2 months, but I ended up being maybe I anticipated being like out for maybe 4 to 6 weeks, but I ended up being out for 2 months. And like I said, it was a decision that was hard to make, but I am very, very glad that I made it, because what I think the best cure for me, I guess, was being able to rest. And I think resting during morning sickness was like the most important part. So I did still continue to throw up when I was on medical leave, but the number of times that I would throw up went down dramatically. So like I could throw up to 5 to 6 times a day, versus like maybe like 2 to 3 times a day, which was like way better than 5 to 6 times a day. And with my first pregnancy, it was, with teaching, like I somehow managed to hold it in when I went to go teach, because like I said, it would be like maybe like a 4-hour block, because let's say it would take me like an hour to commute, 2 hours to teach, and an hour to commute back. But then the second I got home from teaching, I would just like throw up right away. So there are options to kind of help curb morning sickness, which include like there are like prescription medication, which I don't remember there being, but maybe it's just that I don't remember it. But apparently there's like some prescription medication that you can take to kind of lessen the morning sickness, which that was a route I just didn't take. I don't know why, I just didn't take it. And I guess I'm glad that I didn't. Because I knew morning sickness is a thing that if you need it, you need it, like, I mean, not if you need it, you just need it. Like, if you, your body's basically doing what it needs to do. Like, it's perfectly normal. Even though I felt guilty about, like, nobody else has it as bad as I do, I knew my body was kind of reacting or just, like, adjusting to the hormones and all the changes my body was going through normally. Like, it wasn't, the fact that I was throwing up so much and being so nauseous and tired and blah, blah, blah. Like, it wasn't because something was really wrong with me. It was just my body was doing what it had to do to adjust. So I guess that's why I didn't take the medication. And I was talking to my neighbor, and she said that she took it sometimes kind of just to get her through the day or whatever. And she was like, oh, I'm so glad. Or she's like, oh, I wish I didn't take it, because she read, some studies or whatever that said maybe it could have like birth defects, or it could affect the baby in some sort of way, but I think her baby's fine. But there is always that risk. And when I was pregnant with Nene, I remember, you know, like medication and any kind of drugs or whatever, like even if you got like a cold, you couldn't take anything. Like all I could do was like lemon water and like saline solution, like nasal spray or whatever. But this time around, like they say you can take Tylenol, you can take Benadryl and all these things. But anyway, so I personally try not to take medication if I can. So yeah, so I was really glad that I didn't do that.